Hello everyone, so we're back for our stitch along. We're working on chain stitch variations. We're going to be doing open chain stitch, which makes a great ladder-like border effect, and it's also known as Roman chain or square chain stitch. Now suggest drawing yourself some parallel lines, and you might also want to put some dots where you want the rungs to be across your ladder, but you'll get to see that in a moment. So I've just used my friction marker to do that for myself. Now I'm going to pop my needle out slightly before where I want the border to start, and I am planning just to do half of a border with this stitch and then use the stitch that we're going to be doing tomorrow, which creates a sort of braid-like effect even though it's called chain rosette, to complete the rest of the border. So I'm just going to pop out slightly before where I want my first rung to be. I've got a knot on the perlé yarn that I'm using. And then I'm going to take my needle in directly opposite, so at level with where the thread has come out, and I'm going to bring my needle out where I want that first rung to be. And I'm going to make sure the thread is under the tip of my needle. And then I'm going to pull most of the way through, but I'm going to leave a little loop at this stage. And then I'm going to put my needle back in straight across from where the thread is coming out of the fabric. At that point, I can tighten my thread a bit, and then I'm going to bring my needle out the distance down that I want my next rung to be. So you pick what distance you want it. I'm going to make sure the thread is under the tip of my needle, and then I'm going to pull through most of the way. At this point, again, I'm going to go down and put my needle in so it's directly opposite where the thread is coming out. I can then tighten my rung, and then I'm going to pop my needle out the equal distance down with the thread under the tip of my needle, and we're basically just going to keep doing that as we work down. So putting my needle in before I fully tighten the loop, popping it out equal distance down, tightening the loop, putting the thread under the tip of my needle and pulling most of the way through, putting the needle in opposite where the thread is, popping the needle down equal distance, tightening it up, putting the thread under the tip of the needle. And we just keep working it that way, all the way down till we get to the corner. And then we have to just do something slightly different, still the same stitches, just something slightly different with the spacing at that point. So tightening under the tip of the needle and pulling through most of the way. Oh, sorry, just banged the tripod or the stand. Popping the needle in under the tip. The needle in. Sorry, I'm concentrating a bit, just making sure I get my needle going into the right dots, but the dots are definitely very helpful for just knowing where you need to be taking your needle and not having to judge it by eye. And yeah, definitely easier, I think, doing this knot in the hoop. Hopefully it doesn't make it too much harder for you to see what I'm doing. Not sure if I drew my dots totally consistently there, so I was just seeing whether I needed to angle it slightly differently. So now that we're quite close to the corner, I'm going to start doing my stitches a little bit closer together, coming around the corner. But the outside ones will still leave as close to the sort of regular spacing as possible. So now I'll put one stitch in the very inner corner and 1 stitch diagonally across to the outer. I'm going to turn my fabric, see how we go. I think this is a slightly tricky bit of the process, but I thought it was important that we did a corner. Okay, so tighten that up. Make sure it's under the tip of the needle. It's always just making sure you've got that regular motion happening. Oops, pulled it a bit too far in. Just use our needle to just tease it out a bit. So we've got room to make our next loop. Tighten it up a little bit. And we're trying to now just get back to being as straight across as possible. And it will get there. It's just you've got to make it round the corner first and then get to a point where you're straight again. Show you what I mean in a moment. So now I'm trying just to put my needle in so that it's directly across, and then we're back to our regular spacing, as you can see there. So we've managed to go around the corner. It probably could have been a tiny bit more even there, but I'm pretty happy with that for my first time cornering with this stitch. And so now we're just back to going, making sure we're always straight across, tightening up, putting it under the tip of the needle. Just work our way down. Under the tip. So I hope you're having a great day or a great evening. Filming this on the weekend. I like to get my stitch along videos done on the weekend so that they're ready for the week ahead. I don't want to feel under sort of pressure, so I like to have a little batch ready to go. So I've just been out and about today visiting people. Oops, sorry, bumped the camera. Apologies, it will settle itself in a moment. So just always making sure that you leave that loop. Try not to pull your needle out like I just did. I'm hoping I'll be able to get to the end with this thread. If not, I won't make you watch me finish it off. Sorry, I'll just make sure I loosen that up a smidge. Made that too tight tonight. There we go. Loosen it up. Put the needle in, pop it out. It's getting harder because it's getting shorter, so I'm tending to pull it a little bit more than I need to when I'm pulling it through. So I think I might show you how you would finish off, which is as simple as at this point in the process, you would pull that through and then take it under the ends. So I think at this point, if I was finishing off, I would catch this one down and then I would take it over to the other side and catch my other side like that and finish the stitch off and take that through to the back like that. I'll show you it finishing, but I'll come back and just with my extra bit of thread, I'll finish it off properly. So that is the chain stitch, the chain open stitch, or the Roman chain, or the square chain stitch, which I think does make quite a nice little border effect. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for bearing with me. And yeah, we'll come back tomorrow and we will be doing the rosette chain stitch. But as I say, it sort of ends up with a braided like effect. So we'll work that down the rest of the border. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye.